I am live at the Houston Parrot Festival, and I'm here with one of my heroes, avicultural heroes, Jafet Vélez from the Puerto Rican Parrot Project, and he said that he would talk to all of you out there. We've got over 6,700 members now on the group about raw food, so yeah, we're going strong. And Patricia Sant is off to the side here. We'll talk to her in a few minutes. She wanted me to show you the backdrop here so I don't get in trouble. But so here is, this is Jafet. Why don't you tell people a little bit about the project? Just a generalization of what's going on there?
Long story short, the Puerto Rican Parrot Recovery Program has a mission and vision to recover one of the most endangered birds in the world, which is the Puerto Rican parrot, and to not just produce enough amounts in captivity, but the reintroduction of the species into the wild. So far, we have been very, very successful at doing it. However, as you must heard, Hurricanes Irma and Maria has been major setbacks for the recovery of the species.
So, and that's an unbelievable story for another time. You're probably exhausted about talking about it. But so our group's about nutrition. So when you see these birds in the wild, what do you see them eating?
Okay, that's a very good question because we are very fond of nutrition. We have talked about this so many times. The Puerto Rican parrot is probably one of the most studied birds in the world. And one of the things that we have been able to, partially study is their diet in the wild. We have been able to identify over 85 different seeds, shrubs, vines, bark, flowers, etc. they eat as part of their diet. However, during the breeding season, the main food for the species is what we know as the Sierra palm seeds. The scientific name is Prestoea montana. And this seed, which is like a blackberry, not a blackberry because it's not clusters. It's like separate seeds. So I'm referring to the color. It's like a very, very dark purple color. We have been able to tally how many every single bird breeding in the wild is eating per day, and the tally is over 500 seeds per day. Most interesting thing about these seeds is that it's like a game for them. Basically, they eat the whole pericarp of the seed, then they cut it in the middle and eats the inner portion of the seed. So I was talking to a good friend of mine, probably you know him, Dr. Eduardo Valdez, from Disney's Animal Kingdom Nutrition Center. They help us analyzing the contents of the Sierra palm seed, and it turned out that 75% of the contents is just fat. So they need lots and lots and lots of fat during the breeding season. Of course, they got their fair share of protein as well. But then we start looking at other things they eat, like tabonuco seeds. Tabonuco, if I remember correctly, no, it's not Tabebuya rigida. The name is in English. Candlewood. Candlewood is the name. Okay. Candlewood tree is the name. The name in English.
When you say it, it sounds so much more interesting.
So, cacao motillo, laurel sabino, macrabia, all sorts of fruits that will provide the birds with their daily need of protein, fat, and other nutrients. So, one of the things we try to do at the recovery program for those birds that are breeding and for those birds that are getting ready to be released into the wild, we try to collect as much as we can of these wild fruits so we can make them part of their diet. A very interesting story, short story, is that after Hurricane Georges in 1998, most of the Sierra palm was gone from the forest. So the birds barely had a source of that fat and protein for the breeding season. But they substituted by another fruit known as the maricao fruit. It's a small yellow seed, and it was very funny because, well, as you can imagine, the crops of these small babies in the nesting cavities, they look like they had their crops full of little yellow marbles, and it was the maricao seed. They look very
so
very
that their
funny.
crops can learn how to digest food and things like that early on.
Exactly.
Very, very interesting.
And it's just incredible. When you're talking about nutrition, you need to talk about poop. So we were always looking at the poop of the birds, the consistency of making analytes of it, and it was very interesting because all the cheeks, their beaks were completely dark purple. You can barely see the real color of the cheek because the moms were regurgitating all sorts of the mixture of the Sierra Palm, and it's such a nice stain.
That's awesome.
So another thing we have learned in terms of nutrition of the species in the wild is that there's a high correlation between the breeding season and the availability of Sierra Palm. So the more the Sierra Palm available, the earlier or the latest the breeding season will start. And another thing, the altitude, because Sierra Palm, they start maturing at lower altitudes. So as the year goes, the higher the altitude, the later they will bloom.
Interesting.
So, well,
that's cool. That's awesome.
A lot of nutrition, but I guess we got limited time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, I mean, you can hear the compassion in this man's voice. He's passionate about what he does, and the project is just unbelievable. Where can people learn more about the project as a whole?
Okay, there's you can check the website of Biodiversidad de Puerto Rico. As well, there's a website for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. When you go into the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service webpage, look for the southeastern region, and then you will look there for Caribbean species. And we got very, very good friends in other NGOs, such as, just to mention a few, Parrots International, give me a hand here. Oh, the Lincoln Park Zoo, of course, because now we got Puerto Rican parrots.
Right. There's a Chicago connection here too.
at the Lincoln Park Zoo. Sociedad de Ornitología Puertorriqueña, for short, SOPI, SOPI, and all of these good friends have a very, very good information about the species and the work we do with the birds in the way. And of course, the Caribbean Ecological Services Office, just look for us in Facebook and you will be amazed of all the wonderful photos. You will see not just on the Puerto Rican parrot, but on all the species that we work in the Caribbean, like the Puerto Rican boa.
That's awesome. I'll try to post a link in the comments so that you can refer to it later as well. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
He's such a great friend, and we're so glad he's here. So stay tuned.